To be honest, I don't think I have a crush on Chloe Grace Moretz anymore because now that she's being hooked up with the Brooklyn Bridge, so that means I can move on. Now my only problem is I have to move on from Astrid versus Frisbee, so please help.
Like we used to do.
November Criminals is a movie directed by Sacha Gervasi, which is based on a novel with the same title made by Sam Munson, and this movie stars Ansel Elgort and Chloe Grace Moretz. Now in this movie, November Criminals tells the story of two couples in Washington DC, Addison and Phoebe, and they are basically like friends who turns out to be a couple, and then one day they went to a coffee shop where Addison meets his friend Kevin, who is basically this high school student, and then suddenly there was a shooting event that happened in the coffee shop, which turns out to lead Addison to see his friend getting murdered. So now that Addison must find out the truth about who murdered his friend Kevin. Now, to be honest, when I heard about this movie starring Chloe Grace Moretz, I was like excited. I was like, wow, this is a new movie that I'm really anticipating for. I had to wait almost a year to get this movie done, and finally I get to see this movie. You know, it's funny that this movie's out on digital HD and then it will be on in theaters like December 8th. So what? I get to see this movie early, so that's kind of cool. Now, in the beginning of the movie, we get like a prologue where basically Addison has this video of him when he was young with his mother, who now his mother is dead, and then we get to see this video diary, or we can call it vlog, that Addison used to do, where he's just basically sending mails to Chicago University, and then they were just buying coffees in there, and so they were like, you know what, let's have sex, and like, okay, they did, and suddenly then they find out after going back from the coffee shop, then they find out that their friend got murdered. Like there was this murdering happening in the coffee shop, and now Addison starts freaking out. Throughout the middle of the movie, the case never happened much. We just get some drama scenes, like they were just like, okay, we just solve this later. We just instead get a scene of Addison and Phoebe, and then Addison getting in trouble because he's been basically very addicted to the case, and like no one's giving a dang about the story. So like he goes everywhere only to find out about the case. He goes through this place and this place, and then their families are having issues, including Phoebe's family. And then the ending of the movie, the ending got me a little bit confused. Like it didn't do much with the ending. Like the ending, they basically found the murder, but then the murder got away, and then suddenly the ending just, it's very different. Like they survived, and suddenly what we did, they just watched video diaries. That's it. Now I'll tell you, this movie is actually 85 minutes. You know, I watched this movie last week on Saturday. The reason I watched this movie on Saturday because I wanted to look for a perfect time where I can enlarge my time to watch this movie, and this movie turned out to be 25 minutes, which is the same duration for The Babysitter. And however, I was expecting for more. You know, we were expecting for like a 1 hour and 40 minute, 1 hour and 50 minute, which could have given enough time for this movie, but they didn't get the afford to do this movie. However, I tell you what, this movie, I was actually confused with some scenes. Like I was expecting for something great. I was like, expecting for something anticipating. Like they were supposed to be like, alright, my friend got killed and now they're just solving the cases, which is basically what Addison is doing. Instead, you get like this other characters who doesn't give a dang. He doesn't even appreciate about the case. Like people are saying that the case doesn't matter at all because it does not. Like this guy got murdered and like, okay, we'll just forget about it and then we'll just move on with our life. They're not really doing their case, and Addison is the one who's finding out it. And then we get this principal problem where the principal's like, he's pissed off at Addison because, oh yeah, basically Addison, you've been too much with the case. Stop with this Kevin bull crap. And then suddenly we get to see with this family situation where Addison only lives with his father, and basically Phoebe, who played by Cory Moretz, who lives with his mother, and I don't see his father at all. I don't see her father at all. No, really. But there's not much to the case. They were just like doing some love relationship, and then do the case, love relationship, do the case. Like they don't really much really appreciate about the case. Like I think there must be a fact about it, but they're just getting more into the drama. So like they were not really much into the searching. However, the soundtrack really anticipates me. Like there were actually some good music. You know, Addison listens to music, and Ansel Elgort had the same connection to him as a baby and Baby Driver, which I didn't get to see that movie. He listens to music, and then I saw the music David Bowie Life on Mars appearing, and I was like, I'm anticipating for something dramatic. I'm anticipating for something dramatic. And yes, they did. They tried. They tried. Now let's talk about the characters. Addison Shack, played by Ansel Elgort. Now he's basically the protagonist of the movie, and basically he's the one who's basically involved with this case because he got back from a coffee shop and then suddenly his friend got murdered in the coffee shop, and he's the only one who's basically responsible. He's the only one who's trying to solve this case, and he's thinking that no one really much cares about the case because no one is really caring about it, and he's very overreacting. Like, here's about this case, like, I think this guy knows about the murder. I was like, okay, we have to look for that murder. We have to look for that guy no matter what. And like, I have to look for every day and all the time without his father knowing about it. Chloe Grace Moretz plays as Phoebe. Now, Phoebe basically lives with his mother, her mother, that's what I say. And basically, they were just having this friend relationship with Addison. And they were only much into showing the love instead of, you know, helping Addison with the case. So that's why she's basically the reason why Addison stopped doing this. I mean, like, she's basically a friend. She would support him on doing the case, but sometimes sometimes the harder it gets, he's getting too pissed off because like you're going too far with the case. And yeah, that's what I can say. I have to say this, but November Criminals is a case full of black mysteries that is not worth the time. I'm not saying that the movie is bad, because it's not. I mean, the movie is really a little bit boring. My only problem is that this movie could have got enough effort with this movie. Like, the scenes, they could have been great. I mean, Chloe Grace Moretz did great in this movie. Everyone is great in this movie. I mean, I like the setting. It takes place in Washington, D.C. But the movie could have give much case. It could have tell more story to it. Like, it could have been longer enough as possible so that they can get more fun, to get more excitement of what's going to happen next. But yeah, that was my review on November Criminals. Sorry if this movie review is a little bit late or too early. I got many works to do, which is why I can't do this movie review. And finally, I got my chance to do this movie review, but hey, don't worry. I purchased my ticket to see Justice League, so I'm excited to see Justice League, and that movie review will come out a little bit late. So yeah, that was my review on November Criminals. Have you seen it? What did you think of the movie? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that was my review on November Criminals. So here's the outro.